Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Berserk manga read-through, where today we continue with chapter 182 after starting the Millennium Falcon arc last time in the Holy Evil War chapter. So we're up to chapter 182, the Fierce Kushan attack, where Griffith has returned in his beautiful, beautiful form as we knew him in the Golden Age, except even more delicate and angelic as he's been brought back into this world. But there's side effects to his character, because in his rebirth, what got mixed up with the egg was the demon child. And it has like a subconscious, almost instinctual need to protect Casca, especially. And that is influencing Griffith's feelings. He's feeling things that he shouldn't as a result of the demon child, and it's just really crazy. It's just really interesting. So the Millennium Falcon arc has begun, and the Holy Evil War chapter is underway. So let's continue with the story of Berserk, where it looks like we're starting off with something that was very predictable, which is it's time to leave. It's time to move on. So we've got Rickert saying, you can't even stay just one night. Like I said, as long as we have these brands, we'll just attract the dead and demon spirits. Then you'll be in danger too. I and Erica. But still, I too. Don't abandon what you can't replace. Weren't those Godo's parting words? And off they go. So we've got Guts back with his cloak, his cape back on. Casca's got a little new outfit fitted for her. And Erica and Rickert stay behind with at the grave of Godo. Let me move on. Take care, Casca. You better be sure to look after her, Guts. Snow. That's right. The time I left the Band of the Hawk, it was snow just like this. The day I quarreled with him was on a snowy hill like this. The hilltop of all those swords. This time, I'm the one who was deserted. I told you once, I will get my own kingdom. You should have known this is the man I am. What an interesting dilemma we find ourselves in. You, of all people. Just this scenery right now of Guts thinking about this with Griffith. The artwork is incredible, man. It's come such a long way. I was instantly impressed by the art style and its continuous evolution to just improve time and time again. The artwork is so good. As we have Casca catching snowdrops on her tongue. Then Griffith, almost without being in control of his own body, coming in to save Casca. I won't leave you behind. I won't desert you anymore. This time, I won't lose you. They deserve to be happy, man. They deserve to be happy. But the problem is the brand. The problem is the brand. As long as they have that brand, that's it. Like, God damn it. We are cutting to a battlefield. A hail of thousands of arrows cut in and pierce the armor of random unnamed soldiers. Cannon fire out of these beastly looking devices shoot out onto a battlefield. Men marching over bodies. We're at Western Midland. The siege towers pushing in as they climb up to get over the castle walls. Oh. As heads are meeting axes and getting executed. Oh, and just lined up for execution with arrows, the firing line. Oh god. Oh, ooh, covering them in, like, you know, oil, gasoline, whatever. I don't think gasoline was a thing back then. Oil, flammable, liquid, threw the fire in, burn them alive, far out. Oh yes, and then, yeah, I mean, you know what's going to happen. What will happen to us? I'm sure we'll be taken to their land as slaves. Or else be made to have Kashan children. It's the quickest way to take over another race. I heard a rumor that they sacrifice women to their god. No. Either way, we're done for. This town, this kingdom. The Band of the Hawk. If only he were here. This would never... There's no use saying that now. It's coming. Soon now. Our helping hand. What's wrong with this girl? She saw her parents burn to death. She must have lost her mind. It's coming. The Hawk of Light is coming. I can hear it. It's what the wind whispers. Okay. Everyone wants Griffith back in this world, and the egg granted that wish. While the Kashan absolutely massacre this place, apparently the Hawk of Light is going to appear. If only it did not take so long for a city to fall. But General, they show no sign of accepting our repeated counsel to surrender. It seems the fear of our army is a bit too strong a medicine. The fools call extermination down on themselves when they could go on living as war slaves if they'd only submit. Our forces have already managed to bring down 6 fortresses, and yet here you are. An entire clan has failed to capture just one man. I'm flabbergasted. Bucky Rucker. Ah yes, I never expected to hear the term flabbergasted in Berserk, but there it is. What makes you a warrior clan? How absurd. And now you say the hawk flew off on an evil beast? Who would believe such nonsense? Begging your pardon, but this invasion, I hear tell that it all started based on an oracle received by the High Priest. In that case, any kind of abnormal phenomenon should be possible. Boop! Gets knocked right on the head. One who is as a slave ought not to speak as if informed. As he steps on his head. What do priests know of war? From a military standpoint, claiming an oracle as the start of a war is no more than a pretext. You Bucky Rucker who rely on such muttered tripe are pathetic. You all were driven from the Empire for siding with the defeated royal family in the previous struggle for imperial succession, but your original social standing was at the level of slaves. What good will repatriation do you? Even if our great emperor recognizes people like you as soldiers for amusement's sake, entrusting you with a mission is an act of raving drunkenness. Ooh, Silas stands up. Okay. What are you doing? Oh, he just shoves an arrow right into his mouth. Man's not. Oh, not right into his mouth. Just right at the tip of it. If you would pardon the urgency. Ooh. It didn't work. Run. And these two boys. Oh god, there it is. The eyeballs coming out. Oh, the kick in the neck. So hang on, these are the two guys that were behind this fella, unless there's some others. If you would pardon the urgency, and then I think it's cut to another scene. Oh my god. He just punched him he's just shattered the armor. What the fuck? Just misses the spear. Dude, the eyeball coming out. Oh my god, the fucking BAM! Brings his head onto the ground, just splattered on the floor. Oh, the jaw. Oh, this is ridiculous. Yeah, okay, so there's been a bit of a time jump after that. So we had old mate held at arrow point. Silas was threatening him. And now they're just killing soldiers. Oh, to like show their skills. There you go. So swift. What skills? And they crushed iron armor with their bare hands. Are they monsters? We now return to our mission for searching for the hawk. And then just gives him a death stare. No, hang on. Oh, no, that's not a death stare. That's a look of genuine surprise as he's literally just like, we're going to go search for the hawk now. And there he is. And he arrives at the end of the fierce Kushan attack. Why search for the hawk when the hawk has found you? Let's move into chapter 183. There he is. War Cry of the Wind, part 1. And there's the girl who was saying that he was literally just about to appear. Is that? There he is. The Hawk of Light! Impossible! Why is he here? And just rides right past him. You! What? Oh! 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 Without even a second thought. Ah! That's a sword through the eyeball with incredible precision. Well, that's that guy out of business. That's your Hawk of Light for you. Excellency! What do you think you're doing? Fire your arrows! Fire! Wait! What happened to... Oh, they all missed him. What? This man is protected by... This man is protected. Not one arrow. Did he dodge? Impossible. No way he could. Not that many. A coincidence? But... Fools! Of course it's mere coincidence. Why are you just standing there? Second volley. Fire! Oh, and right behind them, as the second volley is about to begin... What's happening? Oh, I was really Okay, I was really struggling to make out the imagery on this one for a second because the black on the page is so prominent that when I saw this, I knew that like this is Zod and he's on a horse, right? And I can see that now. But when I just scrolled to just this much of the page, I saw 2 arms and 2 legs with his in the black and his head. It just looks like he's like a stick figure with a head on it, and I was getting real confused. I was like, what the because it just takes up like it's like the focal point on the screen. However, it looks to be like the darkened like fur on his armor. And not a pair of arms and legs. So that's Zod showing up by cutting off some heads to also back up Griffith as the guard dog. What is he? Is he with that man? Slay him as well. Yeah, good idea. Slay Zod. Yeah, you will try. Far out as he just cuts through them like butter, making heads roll, baby. That warrior, he's a monster. Stand your ground. They're just 2 horsemen. I love this. There's always just like the people in this world always like look at Guts or Griffith or monsters and then you just go, it's just one person. It's just 2 people. How can it be that hard? Every time. Hurry and bring him down. Stop dawdling. And something flashes past. To everyone's shock. Oh, what the fuck? So this spear flies through and pierces the heads of like a line of soldiers all together and they all just collectively fall down. Who the hell is this? Look at that helmet. My enemies, your pardon for being on horseback. My name is Locus. I have ridden here guided by an oracle. Look at that helmet. It's like a Power Rangers villain. I recognize you as the Hawk of Light. Is this the truth? The Moonlight Knight. Locus. The Moonlight Knight. I accept your sword. Delighted! What is happening right now? Hawk of Light. I heard he died. Hawk? But that can't be. There's no mistaking him. I saw his face in the victory parade at Wyndham. It couldn't be anyone else. He is Midland's guardian angel. Insanity! With just 3 horsemen! It's him! He's the one! Hey you! Stop, girl! It's dangerous! Griffith! The wind whispered that the world has begun to change. That's the end of Warcry of the Wind, Chapter 1. Wow. Wow, okay. Chapter 184. So, Griffith, Zod, and Lucas. A trio. So instead of it being Griffith, Guts, and Casca... How interesting. What's really interesting about these parallels that I'm seeing right away is we have Griffith's reforming a new group, right? He wants to reform the Band of the Hawk. Guts is never going to do that. Casca can't do that. But what he does is he has Zod almost as his Guts stand-in. These very like bulky rage types, and then we've got as like almost like the replacement for Casca, we have this Moonlight Knight, which seems to be very like maybe dexterous and nimble as it looked in comparison to Zod. So that's very cool. That's very cool. Warcry of the Wind Part 2. So we have Zod, and also Zod when he's not in his Nosferatu big monster form, like he's also like he's from a silhouette standpoint, almost as if shares like that same silhouette as Guts of just like this big bulky beast of a man, same hair almost, you know. And then we have this helmet though, the Moonlight Knight with the crescent moon. Just putting a polearm right through a bunch of heads. Stop them! Stop those 2 horsemen! Young master, wait. What benefit is there in being loyal to these? We should take advantage of this chaos to capture the Hawk. Yeah, that's gonna work. And Griffith is getting approached by this girl. He's incredibly beautiful. It's like he's not even human. Oh, and just speeding. They're really fast. Speeding right past her. The 2 boys go to attack Griffith. Look out! He turns around. And they're both knocked back. Did Griffith even move a muscle? Wait, what the fuck is this? Impossible! We Tapasa were knocked down! What is this? Slow. Obtuse. The summit of the Baki Raka, the Tapasa. Inquire in amazement. What the fuck is this? That mask, you're Raxus. What? Why is our clan's exile here? I heard the Oracle. Okay, so this Oracle has, done this whole thing, and then a bunch of people have come running because of it. The Bakiraka clan's exile, or the Kashan's exile, Roxas has arrived. Look at that. Creepy. I heard the Oracle, so you're the Hawk of Light. You're lovely. Someday I'll lop off your head and make it mine. Until then, I'll let no harm come to you? Dude, okay, so we're getting this evil group joining up with Griffith. One day I'm going to cut off your head and wear it, but until then, I'll protect you. Grr, I'll play with you. Ooh, this is so weird. In the midst of this whole thing going down as well, we've just got some big players in the middle. Bar the gate! Cut off their escape! Damn. What? Dude! Look at that fucking armor. Holy shit, the dragon shield, the dragon fucking helmet. Dude. The extravagant armor of, like, you know, holy purpley triangular pyramid knights of Rhino Land. Like, when we get, like, to these really extravagant designs of armor that is based off of, like, creatures and monsters and stuff. Giant? A Naga? Stand your ground, he's by himself! It's just one man! Attack! And he throws this shield. Okay, the shield breathes fire. What? Just burning them all. What the hell? It spat fire. Okay, and then it has blades that come out of it? Who is this guy? We're just getting some crazy shit right now, dude. Message! All forces in the stronghold deploy! Ah, yes, they are all dead. What in the... Who goes there? Okay, who else has arrived? That's the Hawk of Light. The savior of the world. Or perhaps... Okay, and now we're cutting away somewhere else. Ah, you're back. Ooh. 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 Oh. That's what's happening. Oh, that's really cool. Okay. I thought it was this person talking, saying, "Ah, you're back," but it was the elf. We've got an elf here. And as the bird then transfers the consciousness of this person back into their body. Okay, I was just like looking at this and being like, what the hell is going on here? This person's consciousness was in the bird. It arrived, went back in. Okay, thank you. Why'd you have to use a bird? Nearing that force field as a luminous body was perilous. One mistake, and I'd be lost in the astral world. Geez, Shirk? How do I pronounce that? I can't even Google that name. This is the problem with character names, is I have to rely on YouTube comments to give me the correct pronunciation, because I can't Google character names out of fear of spoilers. I'm going to go with, for now, as it's almost written, which is Shirk. That's how I'm going to do that until corrected. I believe it'll be Shirk. Maybe not, but that's what we're rolling with. So today, it's Shirk. You're so tough to understand. The angel is the hawk of darkness, the master of the sinful black sheep, the king of the blind white sheep, the one who shall call down upon the world an age of darkness. Okay. New characters. So many new characters coming in. A choking stench. Mind's gone numb with the stench of blood hanging in the air. Dyed red. Everything red. Red in the setting sun shining upon the blood. This scene, which should be only gruesome, however, instead, it was like an inimitable painting. So we've got Zod, Lucas, and whoever the fuck this is, all pledging, and then there's an exile in here somewhere, pledging allegiance to Griffith. We were now surely in the midst of some extraordinary tale. Whoa, so that's the end of that one. Okay. It's getting real quick. Like, the amount of stuff that's coming in. We got a bunch of characters. Griffith is just like, I'm wasting no time. I'm building up my army of super strong dudes. I will get my own kingdom, he says. Let's move into chapter 185. Of Snow and Flame. First act. Chapter 185. Okay, so we're with Serpico and Farnese. Thank goodness we found a place where the snow and wind are tolerable for the time being. It is nice not to have to move with so many people, nice and quiet. It is, truly feels like a journey. How so? It's cold. We're hungry. None of it is nice. Then shall we return to the holy city? Give up on the Black Swordsman? I have no such intention. Do you suggest I report to the Court Supreme that the Holy Iron Chain Knights and refugees were swallowed by monsters? Forget reassignment. We might actually end up being tried as heretics. I wonder if the Vice Commander's okay. He's an overly literal man. Besides, I no longer care to return to that mansion. But listen, what are you doing over there? Come closer to the fire. You needn't worry. We can't afford Kashan or the like to show up, so I will keep watch. Who would be out in this snow? Come and warm yourself. I'll not have one who supplies my food collapsing. And he just turns and faces away from her. Because he doesn't like the fire. It was a snowy night just like this when I happened to meet Lady Farnese. Cold and hunger call forth that childhood day. Oh wow, we're getting Serpico's origin. Beat it! Ha ha! From now on, we're the ones who say he gets food around here. Runts like you don't get a share. Now get lost! Oh wow. Oh. And then the kid meets a fucking brick to the face. Ah, you little John! Serpico fights back. This is the holy city, the capital where God dwells. The myriad towers aspire to praise God. The bells resound his glory. Here, everything exists for God, and all is offered up to him. For those with nothing to offer, this city could prove to be a harsh place. In a rotting hovel on the edge of said city, I spent my youth together with it. A dim room at the rear of the second floor. Opening that door was always depressing. Oh God. Emaciated to skin and bones by illness. It reminded the young me of death. I have your meal, Mother. Where have you been? Oh, your mother suffers here so. My back aches. Rub it for me. Oish. Her protruding, twisted spine and ribs made her seem like some strange monster. How did you get those bruises? Oh, I got into a fight with boys in town. Slapped across the face instantly. You are an aristocrat. Fighting with commoners is absurd. You must have pride. Oh man, the way that it's essentially just a skull. It's like the skin is just really wrapped very tightly around the bones. Oh my God. You alone are my hope. Someday your father will come for us. You must have the pride of an aristocrat so you don't disappoint him when that day comes. You mustn't get too excited, Mother. You will suffer another coughing spell. I give this to you. Have pride. She repeated that deliriously like some mantra. Apparently, long ago, she worked as a maid in a certain nobleman's mansion. She said at the end of the honeymoon, with him, she was blessed with me. Carry it with you, always. Perhaps one day it'll prove your claim. So I am the bastard son of a nobleman. Yeah, I don't know why this woman expects that man to show up. Mother clung to her sweet memories and lived vicariously by burdening me with her dream. It seemed she couldn't even imagine how in the world a child not even 10 had to manage to support himself and his mother on her sickbed. You owe my brother one for yesterday. Every day Mother forced me to bear more pride than I ever could. Beat him half to death. and every day the city robbed me of that pride completely. Before I knew it, I'd lost all expression, and no longer felt anything. I can't move. At this rate, I'll be buried in snow. Maybe that's just as well. Might be easier. Oh wow, and he's just lying in the snow, getting like lightly buried by it. The sound of wheels. Stop! Stop the carriage! My lady! Wow. I knew at a glance. Aristocrat. That word was a curse to me. What gazed down on me was, unlike myself, no imposter, a genuine daughter of nobility, perfect from her head to her toes. Silly rabbit. Insolent whelp just steps on his head. My God. What is it, my lady? We will be late for Holy Communion. What is it? Is this filthy child dying in the street? Holy Communion can wait. Put that boy in the carriage. We're taking him to the mansion. My lady. So steps on him and calls him an insolent whelp and then says, you know what? Put him in the carriage. We're taking him to the mansion. My lady, we shall see to him. No, you shall not. I will look after this boy. All of you may leave. So she thinks she's found a wounded puppy or something. Heed this. I am the one who saved your life, so you now belong to me. God, Farnese is a little child. My God. Terrifying. At the time, it was beyond my ability to fathom. Pledge yourself. God damn. Well, it's a good thing we know that Farnese is going through some good character development right now, because he was a horrible child. But thanks to that, I was able to find unexpected employment. At a noble mansion. What is the name? I was so excited I failed to ask. Now I'd be liberated from this melancholy monster. I would be lying if I said it didn't lift my heart. I was told I would live and work there starting tomorrow. Do not worry. My wages will allow me to hire a housekeeper to care for you. Although hearing what she said, I became aware of my sin. This is your one chance to touch noble society. Serve them well. House Van Diemen. Its assets are rumoured to surpass the budget of an eminent nation. Its bloodline is apparent in the royal families of several kingdoms. It is the noble family of noble families, centred in the holy city and boasting tremendous influence even in the religious community. Looking at it again, it's huge, but I was too young to comprehend such significance. Starting today, you're my personal page. You are to obey me absolutely, serve me well. Yes, Lady Farnese. I was released from those abominable days, and with that in mind, I was able to brook the somewhat unreasonable commands of my new mistress. God damn. Getting drowned, getting chased by dogs, getting chucked off a horse as Farnese whips the thing. Poor thing, you put up with it well. You say you fell off a horse? You might have some broken bones. All of Lady Farnese's servants get fed up with her disposition and run off. She even set fire to one girl's dress, badly burning her. Mind you, don't go and put the young mistress in a foul mood. All in the mansion tread carefully around this little tyrant. The backstory of these characters is really cool. I like that the story takes time to let us know the motivations and sort of like the reasons why characters are the way that they are in this world. It gives us some very good perspective on where they are now in comparison to where they've come from, which I really like. But she had a fitting reason to be as such. Her father, the Lord Van Diemen, was zealous for his work and rarely returned to the mansion, and her mother, losing herself in dissipation, abandoned her daughter daily. buried her in things to express their love. The Lady Farnese was literally left to herself in this expansive mansion. The solemn statues looked down upon her, a grave and gloomy labyrinth. While there were dozens of servants employed, she would rarely pass even one of them. Something about it reminded me of the melancholy hovel in which Mother and I lived. In this huge prison, she lived alone as she saw fit. You'll catch a cold. Maybe it was pity. Maybe it was not mere pity and selfishness. Maybe we both sensed the same scent upon another. One stormy night... Listen to me. You will stay here all night and hold my hand. Yes, my lady. Oh, and here's the flash of lightning that comes through, and she's like, "Oh, no! Lady Farnese, it is alright. Do something about that thunder!" But I cannot. As a tree branch smashes through the window. Oh no, the window! Lady Farnese! Lady Farnese, where are you? Goes to follow. There in the storm, she was dancing in circles, crying out in a queer voice that was neither a scream nor a laugh. Something ghastly compelled her. Lady Farnese! It's a storm! You just need to become a storm yourself! It was this abnormal behavior that repulsed the people around her. One time, she led me into the woods behind the mansion. There, deep in the forest, existed a tiny clearing. Suddenly I realized that scattered around us were what looked like the bones of small animals. Oh God. Oh man, the Farnese was a very disturbed child, right? Very disturbed. Oh man. This small bird. Just recently Lady Farnese had been doting upon it. Lady Farnese? It wouldn't become attached to me at all. Yeah, her attachment issues there. Nothing loves her, nothing bounds themselves to her without any, unconditionally. That's why she's like, "Serpico, you will swear and pledge yourself to me. I own you." But because the bird would not become attached to her, she's just murdering them. For but a moment, it fluttered furiously and cried out, then before long fell into silence. "This is my crematory, my holy altar. I burn all the bad ones here." She spoke absorbedly, her smile illuminated by the flames. That story about the burned servant wasn't a lie. It was as if, in doing this, she intended to frighten people and drive them away. But then why? The plaza overlooked by Lady Farnese's bedroom, it was used for stake burnings during the height of an inquisition. I heard that when she was younger, she went out and threw torches personally. I suppose she was alone in this darkness, lit only through the windows by the flickering flames. Now, I think it was because there's probably the reason for her running out into the storm, and she's doing the whole, to overcome her fear, she throws herself right in it and tries to, become it. Which is what happened with the fire stuff, where she would look out on it, and then she went outside, and then she was handed a torch, and then before you know it, Farnese's as a child is participating in stake burnings, and then when a storm happens, she's running out participating in the storm. "Father!" One snowy day, the master of the mansion returned home. It had been over a year since I was hired, but this was the first time I had seen him. "Just a minute, Farnese. I was just discussing business." "Yes, father." "Oh? What is that filthy doll? Huh? Throw that out." I can order as many new ones as you'd like. Anyway, run along for right now." "Yes, father." "Lady Farnese. According to my fellow servants, years ago, the one time that family took a trip together, Lady Farnese nagged her father to buy that rabbit for her. It seems to have been a precious memento." and then without even a second thought, just burns it. Lady, go away. I'll burn you up as well. She is afraid of being left all alone in this vast prison. She is afraid, so she injures them. She is afraid, so she estranges them. She is afraid, so she is desperate to be the one who is feared. Before a child can ever grasp for happiness, he must bury that part of himself, adapt into reality. However, before long, his true self vanishes as the snow piles up in the labyrinth. One time, I was halted by the master of the house. What is it, master? What is that hanging from your neck? This? I thought he would accuse me of stealing it. Let me see it closely. Oh, I thought so. It contained an inlaid picture of my young mother and father. Thus, I came to meet him. Oh, this is the dude? He just rocks up and goes, oh, that's me. There was nothing especially moving about it for me. It was rather underwhelming. He's the one. Oh, wow. Okay, okay. However, the truth that Lady Farnese was my younger half-sister shook me more than a little. So they share the same father. But have different mothers. Wow. So the nobleman is the one. Yeah. Father said that there were 3 men, my half-brothers, each vying to succeed him as head of the family. He explained that, in order to avoid any more useless squabbling, there was no way he could allow me, as a bastard, to assume the family name Vendimian. If I promised to protect the secret thenceforth, I would be granted a title of nobility, and my circumstances would be dealt with in an appropriate fashion. Would you be willing to meet with my mother? In time. A polite dismissal. With so many assets, finding me and mother should have been trivial. My poor mother. It is God's guidance. I accepted father's conditions. Very well. I hope to remain in this mansion. Honestly, I'm quite at a loss as concerns Farnese. She feigns innocence before me, but I hear from those in the mansion that their lives have been made much easier since you became her companion. That was what the father who saw her only once all year said shamelessly. We do not have the power now to melt the snow that lies thick about us. Perhaps we wanted merely to feel the warmth in each other, a warmth we had in common. Wow. Is Farnese... I assume that this information... that Farnese is aware that Serpico is her half-brother, right? So we're learning that Serpico is aware of this, but I don't actually know at this point if Farnese is aware of this, if there's ever been a conversation between the two of them where this has been admitted, or whether if Serpico's chosen to keep this secret as well, because I think this is like the thing where he's like, you got to keep this a secret and we'll make you a noble. So Snow and Flame. So these are some backstory chapters for Farnese and Serpico, half siblings. Wow. Time passed within the labyrinth. The 2 saplings beneath the snowy drift became bent and entwined as they grew, and without their knowledge, trees begin to extend their branches beyond their miniature garden, bearing curious fruit. Lady Farnese, if you would join me for this dance. Lady Farnese, rather. Would you with me? Excuse me. Serpico, be my partner. So much for that. She is impossible to please. Everyone aims to be close to her. They're all desperate to get under the Vendimian umbrella. Is she again going to dance with none but her escort? Who is he, anyway? I heard he belongs to the peerage, but was originally Lady Farnese's page. He was born common. Lady Farnese. It seems her father, Lord Vendimian himself, is his sponsor. He sure picked the right place to worm into. Oh, and Farnese immediately picks up on this gossip and, like, slaps him across the face with the glove. I'll not forgive you for insulting my companion, lady. A jewel! However, as I am a lady, the very one you insulted shall be your opponent. And he's like, I knew it. Farnese's like, how dare you insult my companion? Now fight him to the death. So this is how Serpico gets good at fighting. Oh! Well then, I guess this is a draw. Very well fought. So he got stabbed, but also disarmed. Come now. Your skills belie your common origin. No wonder as you have been chosen as the guard for young Lady Van Diemen. I apologize for my earlier impoliteness, Lady Farnese. Ooh. And here this starts. Okay. This wound is last week's. This and this are from last month. At this rate, you'll one day be like a rag doll. Why won't you fight seriously? Your sword skills should have been enough to win any of those duels easily. Not at all. You give me too much credit. Fine then. You may be more exciting as a rag doll. Oh yeah, so Farnese definitely doesn't know. Serpico has to keep this secret in order to have been given his noble place in the house. And as we have previously been given the information of, is Farnese gets off on this kind of behavior. Of her inflicting pain and control over others. And so Farnese tortures and punishes Serpico and gets off on it, and it's her half-brother. And he knows that, and she doesn't. Since when was it that despite her bent shape, Lady Farnese came to have feelings for me beyond those of a mistress or her servant? She's just chomping on him. Maybe that was a natural thing, rather, for the two raised in the cradle of the little garden. So he honed his skills enough to be able to just very skillfully stab through multiple leaves in one jab. So this is how we get our explanation on I guess Serpico being as skilled as he is. When I was a child in this city, I was taught to the point of revulsion that retribution is a foolishness that incurs only retribution. This is the best way to preserve Lady Farnese's honor without sowing discord. And he gives some food to some hungry children. Food or money, I think. Maybe money. That looks like a circular coin, potentially. That year in the Holy City, I often caught sight of waifs. Mother's condition progressed, and I had to send her to a sanitarium. She no longer even knew who I was. Oh, wow. Ah, dear husband, I've been waiting for you. That severity had vanished from her face. In the end, father never once came to see her. Gazing away at a dream. In time, she came to live within that dream. This must have relieved her. How is she not dead yet? The master of the house came back after several years. Marriage? But so soon? You object? I'm doing this for your sake, Farnese. I've heard tell every time you go to a ball, a duel ensues. It seems that I have not intervened enough in the life of my only daughter. Being 16, you must assume the dignity of a lady. Your fiancé is a certain generous member of royalty who has accepted this proposal despite being aware of your negative behavior. It goes without saying, but this is also for the sake of the Van Diemen family. You do understand. So we're getting an arranged marriage for Farnese. Yes, father. Curious fruit, left to be raised by another, but when it is ripe, the one who picks it is the owner of the forest. Lady Farnese, Oh no. Don't do this. Don't. I'm closing my eyes. I'm going to stop reading now. Lady! Okay, as Farnese, stripped naked, jumps into Serpico's arms. Don't make it weird. No, I can't leave this place. Outside. I can't live anywhere other than here. But if you were to take me and run away... Because you and I are... You can't... No. Bent together. Ooh, and so Serpico, naturally, he is aware of what is going on here, needs to kind of like push her back a little bit, and she's gonna hate that because she doesn't handle rejection because of everything that's gone on, and she picks up her stuff and runs away because she doesn't know. Fathers, mothers, siblings, why was I now unable to escape from all the yokes that bound us? Oh god. A fire! The mansion! The young mistress has gone mad! Sheesh, man. And then as the chandelier almost falls and crushes her, Serpico dives in and saves her. One of the mansion's houses burned down in the fire. That foolish daughter, to think she could go so far. I permit absolutely no one to hear of this. It would smear the Vandimian name in mud. The wedding is called off. Lady Farnese was sent to a monastery. She is a devil child, and cannot deal with her. On the master's orders, I was sent as well to learn about the world and to observe her. Undesignedly, her wish had come true. But ever since that day, there was no longer anything between Lady Farnese and myself, but a mistress-servant relationship. Probably for the best, considering the alternative for Farnese was almost, one a little bit more intimate than you would like for half-siblings, so it was good that it's gone to a mistress-servant relationship. Hey. Days were spent in tranquil dialogue with God, but the Vandimian name did not long afford her such leisure. Oh, how gallant! It is the tradition that the leader of the Holy Iron Chain Knights be a lady, but how grand for it to be the daughter of the glorious Vandimian family. We entrust to you this duty. Your Vice Commander Azan will see to all practical matters, so you need not worry. You may ask him many things regarding a knight's frame of mind. It is an honor to make your acquaintance. Then, by chance, that winter, rampant heretics began setting fires to temples and mansions of the nobility. Even the Holy Iron Chain Knights, who were primarily ceremonial guards, were sent to compulsorily capture and suppress the heretics. That rundown building! All forces charge! As if possessed, Lady Farnese took personal charge of rounding up the heretics. That diligent discharge of duty was enough to make even the Court Supreme marvel. Damn. Lady Farnese's expression illuminated by the flames. It was the one from that time. Flames. They scorched her heart, the fundament of her childhood. Perhaps Lady Farnese had found the place she belonged. Heretics. They weren't devil worshippers, they were members of a heretical sect. They protested against the wealth of the world being monopolized by the church and nobility. They preached all are equal in the eyes of God. It was denounced as heresy by the Holy See. The oppression against those who threatened their social status and authority reached the extremes of violence. If even one relative was exposed as a heretic, an entire family would be coerced into a trial. In reality, it meant an entire family wiped out. Nearly all who were arrested were poor third-class citizens who lacked even their daily bread. They were who I once was, but no gruesome spectacle I witnessed could manage to shake my heart. Until then. Oh, okay. Farnese killed Serpico's mother. There we go. Oh, or Farnese is going to make Serpico do it. This is an incredibly tragic backstory about half-siblings. This is fucked. Until then. Serpico's mother. We were finally able to strike their headquarters. Who would have thought a sanitarium would be their den? Well done, Lady Farnese. And then he says, Mother. Huh? What did he just say? Why? Oh God. Why is she here? Serpico? This is some kind of mistake. I mean, Mother no longer understands anything. Oh, man. Mother. Did he just say mother? Is your mother among those? Oh, wow, because this is the whole thing about the heretics. It condemns the whole family. And then if he's literally announcing, like, right in front of them all that he's like, that's my mother, he's also included in that. That would be impossible. A relative of a member of the Holy Iron Chain Knights, a heretic? Well, yes, but he did just... If this is true, it constitutes a major problem. Is it my fault? Is it because I left you all alone in that house? But was not your wish fulfilled thanks to that decision? Oh, dear husband. I chanced to meet father and joined the peerage as you wished. Have you been despondent nonetheless since? Oh, how long it has been. Isolated, clinging to God while living in your dream world. I hated you. Sometimes I wished for your death so I might escape your yoke. Is that the reason? Has our son been of use to you? He has not done anything to disgrace the family name? Is this your revenge? You threw the torch. Fuck. Prove it to me. Prove she's not your mother. Swear it once more. I am your mistress. Only I. Always now and forever. What did we bury and hide? What did we burn to ashes? What were we delivered from? What were we enchained by? The third winter since then, that mansion, that holy city, is probably buried in snow again. We left that labyrinth we never thought we would escape, and now we're beneath the sky of a long journey. The snowfall's surrendering. Let's depart. Lady Farnese will follow that black swordsman, as if trying to melt the snow with some flame. Upon the snow, the footprints alone continue on. And that is the end of Volume 22 of Berserk. That was a very telling backstory for Farnese and Serpico. I thought we were just going to get Serpico backstory, and then it included Farnese, and then their half-siblings, and then we also get some really interesting explanations for more of Farnese's actions and Serpico's, and why he is not a fan of fire. He had to burn his own mother alive at the stake, and Farnese made him do it. Otherwise, it would have been Serpico being put up there as well, because of the nature of how heretics are dealt with. That's something. Wow. Thank you so much for joining me for today's Berserk reading, where we got some really cool and interesting chapters about the Kashan and Griffith forming his little bad boy squad, where I assume we'll find out more about that one soon, and who some of those are. There's one unnamed one at the moment, Mr. Shining Dragon Knight Armor Man. We'll find out. But yeah, the Band of the Hawk is being rebuilt. We're getting backstory on characters that are now traveling with Guts. We had the introduction of another new character who could transfer their consciousness into a bird to observe. Shirk, don't know who that is either. So we've got new people coming into play, and we'll find out what happens next time when we start Volume 23 of Berserk. So thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll see you then. There is a man, but it's so otherwise we'll pray.